while we prep.
Is that better?
Oh, so much better.
Okay, cool. Whoa, you're all scrambly right now.
Am I? Uh-oh.
What the fuck is happening?
Uh-oh.
The hacker?
The hacker. The hacker's here. Let me hear you, Rich.
Check.
You're
Check.
low. Keep talking.
I was gonna get you a Cameo yesterday, and then I realized you should do cameos as Enchante and charge like $6.
Oh, happy birthday, Leon.
Everybody's Leon.
Everybody's Leon.
I'm
It's the only thing he
sorry.
knows.
I think you get away with it. I think
Do you know
if
what his brother's name is?
Who, Enchante
Yeah.
or Leon?
No, Enchante.
Who? What?
Tutti Frutti.
I like that. It's good to commemorate the late great Little Richard.
Yeah. Vince McMahon's favorite musician.
Yeah.
Okay. We're live. Hey, everybody. Got a couple minutes here. Let's get everybody happening. Danny Damage, what's going on? Ruben, what's up? Large, what's up? Crown Wolf, Bobro. The whole gang's here. I am a little, I got to change this mic.
Did a couple of gimmicks yesterday.
Me? I was good. I was actually pretty good yesterday.
Did you have a good birthday?
I did. I had a great birthday.
I like that.
It was nice.
I like that you had a great
I
birthday.
had a great birthday.
4 people I know have birthdays on May 13th.
4 people. Jeez.
You, my brother, my buddy Dan, who's the singer from my band, and this dude we went to college with, Billy. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing.
Everybody's born this week. Everybody's like the 14th, the 15th, the 17th. Like I got like 6 friends too.
Mm-hmm. I got 2 more months.
You got 2 more months, and then Coco too. Coco has 2 more months. You may actually have a birthday compared to many other people.
That is true, but regardless, if I don't have like a get together, that's also fine by me.
I know. At this point, yeah, like I'll take whatever. I just want to be
39 is a bit of a shoulder shrugger, so
but 69 is a beautiful number.
Oh boy. What the fuck happened to me? I'm drinking yerba mate kombucha right now.
Is that what you're drinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You watched everything, yes. Yesterday, I thought NXT was a better show.
I caught little bits here and there of NXT. I really enjoyed AEW a lot.
I'm going to tell you, I did not enjoy it as much as I normally enjoy it. I enjoyed NXT
really?
A little bit more. Yeah, I thought it was a little, I don't know. It got a little silly, the show.
You didn't like the Vanguard one thing. A lot of people were complaining about that.
No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I wasn't like, oh, this is great. Like Matt Hardy crying over. I thought that was kind of funny, but let me just pull it.
You know they're going to do something awesome at the Stadium Stampede where Vanguard 1 returns as like a spy plane and shoots everybody.
Just like with missiles.
Mm-hmm. Like rubber bullets or something.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Hang on 1 second. Let me just do this. Okay. You ready? All right, chat room.
I am ready, Freddie.
All right. Let's get the party on the road. In 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to Mattman, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm AJ Zarian. I'm joined by the baddest mom on the planet, Rich Stambolian.
Baddest ma'am around, baby.
The baddest ma'am around.
I can't believe they cashed in on the Becky Lynch thing, and they released they went from the man t-shirts to the mom t-shirts.
The mom. You know how many they're going to sell of that?
A friggin' million.
They missed it by like 2 weeks, that shirt.
What do you mean?
For Mother's Day. They could have sold it for Mother's Day. They would have sold so many of those things.
Oh, my God, yeah.
God damn it, Becky, why couldn't you plan your pregnancy better?
They should have called her the dad.
The dead. I know you were really big on that, guys. This show is all about professional wrestling. We did a show Sunday. We did a watch along. It was a lot of fun. We took phone calls all night long. We're gonna incorporate a call-in show. All right. I'm just trying to figure out how it will affect the podcast. I know that we had brought this up a while ago, and many of like the people that listen to the podcast, like the video and the audio, were very much against making this into a call-in show. So we're not gonna make this show into a call-in show, but I think we might do extra call-in shows. We might do like a Saturday call-in show, like a Friday call-in show. We'll do something. We're gonna incorporate this for sure. Obviously with the watch-alongs and everything, but a lot of people were freaking out that we're gonna turn the show into a call-in show. We're not gonna do that. If we do a call-in show, it's gonna be a whole separate thing. So you're still gonna get the regular Mat Men as always, and then we'll incorporate some different elements into this. A lot in pro wrestling. Obviously, Sunday was Money in the Bank. We'll talk about the aftermath of that. Monday was a humongous day for Monday Night Raw. Becky Lynch announced that she's pregnant. She let go of the title, and Asuka, in a shocking moment, was not aware of this, that the Money in the Bank winner would become the new Raw Women's Champion. Obviously, Asuka's the new champion now. Very genuine reaction, which my wife was watching at that moment, and she really enjoyed the Becky Lynch moment with Asuka because it was so genuine. Yeah. I think that's what matters, right? At the end of the day, like for you too, it's the genuine reaction that kind of draws you in. And it's interesting to see it from a non-wrestling perspective. How was Vicky with this when did she see it live with you?
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, that's sweet." I got a little choked up because like, "Oh, that's cool." You know, like they had like a nice and real moment. And I do like that Asuka's got the belt again. So it kind of worked out for everybody in a weird way, right? Like Seth and Becky are going to be parents. You know, it would be hysterical if Seth wasn't the dad. And it was like Bobby Lashley or something.
Yeah, there you go. Let's just do it. Let's just call it right now. Bobby Lashley's the dad, guys. That's going to be
or they do like the Rey Mysterio thing, and he's the Poppy. They bring back the Dominic angle. Dominic's the Poppy.
Dominic is the Poppy. Now he's getting back. Everybody
That'd be amazing.
I loved the disheveled Seth Rollins that we got on Monday, where he was all disheveled. He was sticking his stomach out. He looked like utter shit. I thought that was so awesome how they did that. I don't know what they're gonna do with him now. Obviously, I expected Sunday. Sunday him and Drew had a phenomenal match. The match was put together unbelievably.
That's fun.
The problem was that obviously it's in front of nobody. When you have a great match like that, it takes it away when there's nobody in the audience. Yeah. So they had a great match, and at the end they shook hands. So I was like, oh, that's a face turn. And then on Monday he really wasn't a babyface. He was kind of an asshole.
I don't think they know what they're doing with heels and faces anymore because there's no crowd. So they can't really feed off anything except the matches. So everybody's kind of like on this even Steven battleground again. And also, like, I'm glad you mentioned the face heel thing because is Finn Balor all of a sudden like a face again?
Finn Balor turned heel, and then he's now I guess he's a face again.
Because last night on NXT, they revealed that it was Damian Priest that attacked him. And when you attack somebody like suspiciously like that, it makes the other person a babyface, right?
Yeah. They last night they also announced that In Your House is back. NXT TakeOver In Your House. This is the first In Your House since St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1999. That was the last pay-per-view with a In Your House name, which is interesting. Wait. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I wonder if they're gonna like dress up the set for In Your House.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Do you think the main event is gonna be Diesel versus Sid to commemorate the first In Your House?
Can you imagine if that's the surprise main event? It's that's the moment. It's I don't know. Some matches, obviously, we kind of have an idea what they're gonna do. I thought, do you want to backtrack a little bit? Do you want to talk about the pay-per-view very quickly? I want to get your opinion of it. Because it was a very mixed reaction. I think our view is a little skewed because we're having a lot of fun while we're watching it.
Oh, so much fun.
So when I watched it with everybody, I had a great freaking time. I thought it was a really fun pay-per-view. I watched it again the next day. I was like, I could see why certain people didn't like certain elements, but I did enjoy the Money in the Bank match. I did enjoy the Seth Rollins match. The tag team match was really good. There's nothing wrong with what they did. It just a lot of things don't hit when you don't have an audience.
Yeah. So, like you said, it was a whole lot of fun watching it with everybody and people that we haven't really talked to and people that we talk to a lot and taking the call-ins. And so it was a whole lot of fun. And I think that's the way watching wrestling should be. And I'm glad we do the watch-alongs. I think it's been keeping us sane also during the quarantine.
Yes.
But so like it was a quick pay-per-view. Apparently there was a mandate from on top that says if we're going to do no audience pay-per-views, they're going to be a lot shorter. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that.
It was under 3 hours, right?
It was under 3 hours. Everything kind of went super quick. The last two matches were like half an hour ish, like because they combined them, right?
Yeah.
So like the women's and the men's ended up being like a solid half an hour. Seth and Drew were like 20 minutes. Braun and Bray had a nice 10-minute match, told a good story. And like I did like the Bailey Tamina thing. I thought that was kind of fun. And then everything else was just like a little bit of filler, New Day retaining, like that's cool. But I also think that's going to set up Otis for cashing in with Tucker.
So here's the thing, right? I want to get your opinion of this. I'm trying to figure out what they do with the cash-in with Otis. I was very surprised with the Otis cash winning. You were the one that called it. You said, it might be cool if Otis wins this. I don't know if somebody told you anything, but I'm curious how they present this right now because Drew's an ultimate babyface. So he's not going to cash in on Drew.
Right. Yeah. It would be funny if he beat like Drew. I think it would be hysterical if they do it right and he beats Braun and then becomes this champion that wins in wacky ways all the time. Like he just wins by accident. I think that would be fantastic for the character.
Okay. I could get into
because that's how he won Money in the Bank, right? Like AJ and Baron Corbin screwed up and AJ dropped the briefcase right into Otis's hands.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's how I see this. If he's not going to win it, right? There's multiple scenarios here. One, they could be preparing him for a monster push, right? As a comedy character on the top, which they don't have really right now. They don't have a top-tier comedy character. Sometimes WWE really likes to do this. They like to get a comedy character and put him on top and see how it goes. I don't... Either you're going to push this guy to the freaking moon with this. The title's going to go on a heel, and you're right. I could see him winning accidentally and doing almost like a Mick Foley type win, where the odds are stacked against him. You don't think he's going to win the title, and oh my God, he does. He beats this heel. Right now, you have two top baby faces as their champion, so it's not happening today. Obviously, you have a year to do this. You could take your time with him and have him do wacky things with the briefcase, have his food in the briefcase, have his stuff in the briefcase.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can do the whole thing. Or they're going to make this into a dud cash-in, and he just decides to cash in and he doesn't win, which they could do that. I don't know what purpose this serves at all. Or three, they decided that they want the title on him and he's going to be Drew, which I don't see that happening either. So I don't know. If he hangs on to this thing for a while and they start building the character, I'm all for it. Obviously, if there's a purpose.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Because you have a better wrestling memory than I do, right?
Okay.
And this is like proven time and time again.
That's the only memory I have, by the way. I have no other memory. I can't remember anything else other than bizarre wrestling references from the 90s.
That is true. He sent me, I kid you not, Andrew sent me a clip of Chronic versus 3 Count this morning at like 6:45 in the morning. He was like, peep this, dude. So do you remember the last 3 cash-ins at all? Because I feel like, to me, could not remember them for shit.
Okay, Baron Corbin, right, was one.
Right.
Edge is another, and CM Punk, right? Is that the order how it went? Because those are the ones I remember.
No. That's the ones. Those ones you remember. And the last like 2 years, because people have held this briefcase, and the 2 things that stick out is Baron Corbin's dud and Damien Sandow's dud.
Yeah, and that was many years ago. So here we go. Let me see here. So the previous year was, well, it was Becky Lynch, right? Becky had everything, right? Who was it last year? Let me see here. Let me see the matches. I'm sorry. My memory. You had. Oh, Brock Lesnar won last year. That was the one I freaking loved and everybody hated.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yes.
Ali, Andrade, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. And all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar was a secret entrant at the end, came in, just climbed the ladder, and won it. That was the last one. I thought, again, very unique. Everybody hated it, but I think when you look back, you're like, okay, that was pretty cool. Charlotte
Is that when he came out like dancing?
Yes, that's when he came out dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you had Charlotte defeat Becky for the women's championship, and then Bayley defeated Charlotte. And that was Bayley's Money in the Bank cash-in.
Carmella.
So, okay, so Bayley won last year for the women. Let me see the men because it gets so complicated. So 2018 was, I believe, Baron.
It's very convoluted,
Corbin, right? 2018 was Baron. No, it was Braun Strowman won that year. Okay. Oh my God, yeah, he had a dud also, right?
Yeah, and I think he cashed in at one of the Saudi shows, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember. But Baron had 2018. Yeah. So you have Brock Lesnar. You have Otis, right? So 2020 Otis, right. 2019 Brock. Then 2018 you had Braun. I think 2017 was Baron. Yeah, 2017 was Baron. And then 2016 was probably something that made sense. Who got this one? Dean Ambrose.
That was a good cash in.
Dean Ambrose, look at this. Dean Ambrose defeated Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. What a different world we're in today.
Oh my God, yeah.
As far as
but that was a good cash in because that belt swapped hands twice that night, right? When I think Seth got it, and then Ambrose cashed in, and then
let's see,
Ambrose got it.
Yes, yes. Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. Then Dean Ambrose beat Seth Rollins in 9 seconds. Yeah, interesting. You know, a lot changed. Do you want to talk about the Del Rio story? Boy, what a crazy story this is.
Yeah, this dude is bonkers.
Dude,
that's nuts, man.
Really bonkers. This is a sick man.
Yeah.
There were based on everything that's obviously being said here. Del Rio left WWE on really weird terms, came back, and then left again on really weird terms. The whole thing with, there's a lot of stories now that I expect to come out about him that people were talking about when he had his TNA run.
Okay.
It was pretty well known that this guy is not very stable. And dude, did you see his mugshot?
Mugshots never look good.
No. He looks possessed. The allegations
it looks like he's on a lot of drugs.
Are terrible. Police say that he proceeded to tie up the woman's hands with boxing straps and put a sock in her mouth and assaulted her sexually for hours with objects that were near. This is a crazy story. Now, I don't know. This is not good. I don't know. I think he's pretty much done when it comes to wrestling or anything at this point.
I think he's done. He's just done. It's it. He's going to do like 20 years in jail right now.
Dude, that
was this in the States or was this in
No, Texas.
Was this in Mexico?
No, Texas.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a good look.
Not a good look at all. Terrible. So that also broke on Sunday. But right now, let's talk about the current product. Raw. I watched Raw. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, sure.
It was okay. Amazing how they've decided that the pay-per-view needs to be shorter with no audience, but they're not doing that for TV.
Well, I mean, they've been throwing in intermittent clips of past events in the last few weeks, right?
Just a stall.
Do you fall asleep?
Yeah. No, I'm okay.
Are you about to yawn?
Oh.
Was that a sneeze or a yawn?
I was. I just drank my coffee, so I'm about to hit my my peak.
Hit it, baby.
I'm about to hit it.
Yeah, like Monday Night Raw has been like, I'll watch it just because I want to do my due diligence for the show. But I think this Monday I was watching it while doing other things. I was definitely doing like background noise Raw after I'll always watch the first hour and then I'll start like just doing shit around the house. You know, I don't know how you watch Raw.
I generally watch it in bed.
Mhm.
And I
Covered in
and I
hummus.
just covered myself. I cover myself in hummus in my bed, and then I just watch Monday Night Raw every day. I just watch it. You know, like generally I watch Raw, right? And we're live tweeting and everything. It's been really difficult to do that with a lack of crowd and energy. So my watching is more like in the background. I'm watching it, just like taking notes if there's something big that happens, so I remember for the show. But outside of that, it's not a very exciting watch along for me. NXT and AEW a little bit different. AEW had a ton of people in the audience this week.
Yeah. Lax restrictions.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw, there was a wide shot that they had, and it looks like it's people on staff that are in the crowd, but they have the two on the side, so it looks kind of, obviously you could see people around the ring, which is great, because that's the shot that you want. That big wide shot, the hard camera shot, is pretty much the stage, so they don't have to worry about anything with filling that. But there were a couple angled shots of the crowd, and there were like groups of like 10 people every now and then, which I thought was unique. They had clusters of people, and it really filled up the noise. Like when you watch that show, it's so much more energy. And forget about if you like AEW or not, right? I get it. Some people are not into it. That's fine. But it's a very different feel than the WWE product because there's no noise with the WWE product other than the announcers and the guys in the ring. This has a lot going on. You know, you got the heels on one side, you got the baby faces, there's crowd participation where they're beating up on each other, and then you got the people in the back that are really making that building sound full. Much easier to watch. However, I did not enjoy this week's AEW as much as I have the last 3 weeks. I think they kind of hit a weird point because next week's the go home, obviously. I thought NXT was a better show overall. They did a lot more to build on NXT.
I thought I really liked AEW. I liked AEW a little bit more. Some of the NXT stuff, it's not boring, but I'm just like, all right, like it's okay. The no crowd in the audience kind of bothers me a little bit with them. Yeah. You know, it hurts a little bit, and also I think at this point it's a matter of AEW had the right idea first, so we can't do the same thing. Otherwise, the perception is that we're copying them, right?
Yeah.
The one, and this is the stupidest gripe in the world, but the one thing about AEW where it was kind of like a womp womp moment for me was I really thought Cody was gonna gun that friggin' giant truck and end up in the arena somehow. And he just knocked over like a couple of cones.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to take the risk.
I think that was it. He was like, yeah.
If you want to go down this card, it's actually a pretty stacked card for this pay-per-view, and obviously this would be tremendous. I want you to envision that this is happening in Vegas, and then a lot of it will make sense, right? Because Double or Nothing takes place in Vegas every year. They do it at MGM Grand. Really cool building, really cool vibe. The crowd is, obviously we're in another realm. This is a very different show, but this is what we have today. Pre-show match is going to be private.
It's a good card.
It's a very good card. Private Party versus the Best Friends to determine the number one contender for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. I feel like Chris Statlander has cooled off a lot, and not because of anything she did. I think she's over with the crowd, and without a crowd, there's really she's green in the ring, but she's very over with the crowd. So her gimmick is majority crowd participation and them like in the boop thing and the alien thing. That's gone. So it's not her fault, obviously. But Britt Baker shined during this whole quarantine thing. She's really found her own, which is great to see. You're going to get a Nyla Rose versus Shida in a no count out match for the AEW Women's Championship. I'm curious to see what they do. Yeah. Hikaru Shida is great, and I think Nyla's figuring out, what she is.
I think Hikaru Shida is going to take it in that match.
You think so? I think Nyla's coming into her own in this as a monster heel, though, right?
I guess so. There are certain like everybody, there are certain people on the AEW roster that like kind of don't do it for me, and it's a very small amount. I feel like it's tough with Nyla Rose because I feel like you immediately think like Awesome Kong, right? But they can't do
Okay.
that. Which is obviously you can't really ape that, because when Awesome Kong was that monster female heel, there was nobody better, right?
There was really nobody with her size or I guess or style even, right? Nobody existed. By the way, my skin just blew up. Do you see this? I'm bleeding.
Are you okay?
Out of nowhere. I don't know.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, it's like my skin just decided that it's a weird. It's just bleeding from nothing.
That's very weird. Did you shave your arms today?
No. That's a weird part.
Is it like a shaving cut?
Hemophiliac. I'm just bleeding nonstop now.
I think Deacon's slowly poisoning you.
100%. You also have Darby Allin versus Colt Cabana versus Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix versus to be announced. A casino ladder match. A TBA. They don't do TBD. TBA. Turnbuckle Al. A casino ladder match for a future AEW World Championship match. Who do you think takes this one?
Depending on the final entrant, I am gonna go with Rey Fenix.
Okay, I'm gonna go Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, all right.
I'm gonna go Orange Cassidy.
It would be cool if it was Colt.
That would be cool too. That'd be very cool.
It would be cool if it was anybody, actually.
I like all of them. Darby Allin, I like Colt, I like Orange, I like Rey Fenix. Turnbuckle Al, my favorite.
Huge Turnbuckle Al fan.
I love him. Then we have
a big Al head.
Big Al heads. I like it. Turnbuckle Al heads. MJF versus Jungle Boy in a singles match. This just got built on TV this week. That'll be fun. Yeah. Cody versus Lance Archer for the AEW TNT Championship, which will be presented by the baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson. This is So did you see that Mike Tyson is getting ready for a return to boxing?
Yeah, you can still do it, man. The dude's still quick. You know,
there's a video that was put out of him. This is a 52-year-old man, right? 53-year-old man. I don't know what he's planning on doing. I don't know what kind of comeback conversation this is, but holy moly, this guy is moving unbelievably. I mean, I can't believe how this guy moves at 52 years old. Yeah. It really is unbelievable what a talent he was in combat sports, in boxing. So,
forget it.
We're going to see a match. I don't know what the hell kind of match that is that we're going to see. We're going to see something, but he attended an AEW show. I don't know which show it was, and he absolutely loved it. And he got in touch with them, and Tony Khan booked him, and he's presenting the champion with the TNT title.
Is he going to have an Inner Circle shirt underneath?
Underneath? Can you imagine? Dude, they're going to have to try to recruit him, right? They're going to have to do something there.
I don't know, man. That's fine. He's a huge wrestling fan, which I always appreciated about the guy. And like pound for pound, like one of the greatest fighters of all time, right? And also like people don't realize how strong this dude was, you know, when he was in his prime. I think this is a good get. And man, this makes me also think like maybe Cody wins because that's a good moment, right? Tyson handing him the TNT championship.
Can you imagine Tyson and Jake Roberts, and Tyson puts a snake on him? He's like, "Get the snake away from me."
Pretty decent, Mike Tyson. I've never heard you do that before.
Get the snake off of me, man. Get the snake off of me.
What would Mike Tyson's reaction be to Enchante?
Hey, he's a weird guy. He's weird. That's what he would say.
That's Dusty Rhodes.
That's the same guy, dude. It's a couple shades darker. Same voice, same everything. He has the weirdest Brooklyn accent I've ever heard in my life. Let me just tell you that. Mike Tyson. So
it's there.
You think so?
I think it's there. It's just it's through that filter of like those vocal cords, you know, but it's definitely there.
What a voice, right? Can you imagine that's the voice on the baddest man on the planet? I think that adds even more of an element to
same thing with
the psychoticness of Mike Tyson.
Same thing with Brock, right? Like Brock, like that's why they never let the guy speak.
Yeah, he has a high voice. Then the main event, obviously, Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee for the AEW World Championship. Looks like a solid match. You know, Brody Lee's been doing some long matches on AEW TV, and they're kind of showing his moveset, and I think this has been a good display of him outside of the WWE realm. They're doing a good job with it. I like everything about this card. Oh, also, here's one. I forgot the Stadium Stampede match. I totally forgot about this. Matt Hardy.
Yes.
Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson versus the Inner Circle of Chris Jericho, Jack Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz. This is a where are they doing this match?
Like outside. They said they had like an empty 80,000 seat stadium.
I guess they're in Jacksonville.
Yeah, right. So this is going to be very interesting, and I guess by default, Matt Hardy is going to be part of the Elite, which is kind of neat.
By default, yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. What if he turns on him? That'd be cool.
I don't think so. I think you're going to get that Matt Hardy turn later on, but there's one thing that I find very interesting is that we have not seen Jeff Cobb at all, right?
Oh, since that one match.
Mm-hmm. So he might be a factor. I think the return of Vanguard 1 might be a factor. I think we may get a new recruit to the Inner Circle. Who knows who it would be?
Well, wait a minute. And then how about all the free agents that could possibly go, right?
Anybody who's not under contract could technically show up in 2 weeks, right?
Let me think. Well, I think Gallows and Anderson have a 60-day clause. Or 90.
It was 90 because they're doing the countdown.
They're doing a countdown.
They're free in July.
Like 50-something days, and then they're going to tell the whole story. Man, I am tan. Do you notice my tan right now?
Good for you. You've been hanging out in the backyard drinking booze and doing heroin for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my day. I look awesome. Look at this tan I got going.
I can't believe you stopped the podcast to tell me how tan you are.
I just admired
it.
Who are
you?
So sorry. Now? I just had to.
Have you been? Are you a club promoter?
Color. I'm a club promoter. You want to come?
Don't
worry. Listen, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Just tell them you know Vinny, and I'll get you in. Don't worry about it. You don't have to buy a bottle or anything. I got you. I got you comped all night. Don't worry.
Is the next thing you want me to acknowledge is that you just got a brand new souped up NSX like waiting for you in the driveway?
I got an Acura NSX just sitting there right now. Dropped with like the underglow, right? The lights underneath and a giant spoiler. I drive a shopping cart. That's how I drive around. I just push it with the spoiler.
You look tan. You look very tan.
Thank you. That's all I needed from you. I just wanted you to acknowledge it.
You want me to acknowledge your tan?
Yes. Oh, regularly. Whenever I get a tan, I want you to tell me, you know what? You got a nice tan.
Who's the tannest wrestler in current wrestling?
Hulk Hogan. Oh, no. Current wrestling?
Current wrestler.
I don't know. None of them really have a good tan going.
Can I make a bad pun?
Yeah, make it.
Tanahashi.
Tanahashi? He does have a great tan.
He does have a great tan, but yeah.
Yeah, he does have a great tan. So, I mean, I'm excited for this pay-per-view. It's in 2 weeks. And then the week after this, right, or a week and a half after this, we're going to get In Your House.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of wrestling going on the next couple of weeks. I don't know. We'll see what happens by SummerSlam. SummerSlam is scheduled to be in Boston, and Boston does not intend on opening up any of these buildings, these large-scale auditoriums and stadiums, till September. So I don't know if WWE is going to be able to kind of figure out something here. If they're going to still do it in Boston, if they're planning on just doing it at the Performance Center with people, I don't know. Why not? Why not just do it at the Performance Center with limited capacity? I'm surprised that would be cool. People there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's a very tricky issue again because they're still at the end of the day a publicly traded company, right?
Yep.
And I think they have to be extra careful with what they do with their live events or pre-taped events or whatever it is, just so they don't get heat from whoever the hell is out there, right? And on top of that, I think Vince is being sued by one of the XFL executives.
The head, I believe it's one of the heads of the XFL. He is suing for $23 million because he had a clause with Vince. Did you see how nonsense this is, actually? Vince pulled a fast one. So he had a clause in his contract saying that he can't be fired. And if he is fired, he's going to be paid, $5 million a year for the remainder of his contract, whatever it was. Vince fired him and is refusing to pay the money. And he's saying the reason why is because there's numerous reasons, but one of them is that he hired a felon, right? He hired somebody with a criminal record, but the criminal record is a marijuana possession that was dropped.
Okay.
and it was more like a moving violation. So, I mean, listen, it's going to be a legal thing. This is how these things work. I know a lot of people are making a big deal out of this, but this is just how it is, and Vince is going to settle with him. Vince isn't paying him the $23 million. He'll probably pay him $10 million, and he'll think that's a win. There's
a lot going on with wrestling. New Japan's not doing any even like zero audience shows for the foreseeable future. I think Harold Mage, president of New Japan, announced that the other day that they want, because the outbreak is so big in Japan, that they want to keep everything as safe as possible. So 0 shows, man. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how Japan is doing right. Let me see Japan's numbers as far as the virus. I get why, actually Japan may be first to come back, and the fact that they are holding back on this is interesting to me, because they're so isolated. Let's see. Japan has reported, let's see. Let me pull this up here. Oh, I cannot find it. Thank you very much. I mean, Japan has 16,000 total cases and 670 deaths total. So, I mean, they're doing better than most. So, I mean, listen, I get it. They're being cautious. They had 21 people die yesterday in Japan. So they're approaching the end of this, obviously. But, when Japan comes back, it's more content. Korean baseball's on, empty arenas. Japanese baseball, I don't know what they're going to do with that. If they're going to do empty arenas, I'm sure they are. This is what it's going to be for the foreseeable future. There's really nothing we could do beyond hope that there's a decent product out, or a first-run product with an audience. So I don't know how WWE is going to do this. I know WWE's itching to get an audience back. Same thing with AEW. Everybody keeps putting blame on WWE and all this stuff, but same thing with AEW. WWE, by the way, has stripped Sami Zayn of the IC title, and this caused a lot of controversy. People are very upset over this. They're saying, I thought WWE wasn't going to retaliate. They weren't going to punish people if they refused to work. What do you make of this? Do you think this is a punishment? I don't think this is really a punishment to Sami Zayn.
No, not at all. I think it's just that, he's saying, hey, I don't want to be at the shows. I don't feel safe. And they need a belt on TV. But they also did the same thing with Jordan Devlin, because he couldn't make the trip overseas because of the virus too, right? So they took Jordan Devlin's title. They took Sami Zayn's title. Sami's been vocal about it on social media, which, who knows if it's a work or not. But
yeah, that's the thing. Is he working everybody, or is he serious? Because here's the thing. I unless there's something more happening behind the scenes that we don't know, I think stripping you of a title is not a punishment. I think a punishment is salary. That's how I see it. If you're being punished by not making money, by not showing up, or they're removing pay, or they're kind of being dicks to you, that's one thing. But to strip you of a title for not wrestling on TV is not really a punishment. They have to. What do you expect them to do?
Right.
Like they gotta have some sort of title on TV. So,
and plus, if
the direction they went,
if they really obviously wanted to do something, they just fired 30 plus people, right? So
yeah,
I think he's gonna get that title back. But it's kind of funny, because in the last 5 years of WWE, how many times have they taken titles away from people under weird circumstances?
You know what's funny though? They did not strip Andrade when he got suspended, and he was gone for 30 days, right?
But they love that guy.
They love, that's the thing. They love him.
They love that guy.
Yeah, there's more to the story. Let me just say that. I'll tell you off the air. But there's a little more that I'm hearing. Sometimes, here's a great example. Andrade got suspended for a wellness violation, and he kept the title. But Sami, they stripped the title off. So I guess they don't know when Sami's coming back, or he's just not as liked as somebody else.
I feel like, who knows what the case is with anybody who works there, because you always hear a million different things about every single person that's on any wrestling roster, right? The business is still protected in that way. You know what I mean? Like, they're not giving you everything. Sure, how matches are made and all that, but as far as like people's backstage attitude, or who likes them and who doesn't, you don't really know that stuff.
No, you really don't. What else is going on in wrestling, Rich? Anything I missed here? I want to do a lot of questions, so guys, get your questions ready. Let's do some viewer questions today.
And did you watch the Road Warriors Dark Side of the Ring?
I did. What did you think of it?
Great.
There was but there was nothing there, right? Was there any big revelation that you didn't know?
I think it was I didn't know about the Yakuza stuff.
Oh, with him getting in trouble in Japan.
Right. Or him just hanging out with like Yakuza dudes while Animal and Paul Ellering were just like going to the hotel, you know?
Yeah, so that's always the thing, right? About them?
Mm-hmm. Hang on. I think somebody's trying to call in.
No. Where?
No.
What do you hear?
Are you sure?
Yeah, why? What do you see?
I think Mike said answer the phone.
I don't. Oh no, there's a buzzing happening somewhere. And that's what
okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Also, the screen is black. What is going on? What phone? Where?
Mm-hmm.
Who? What happened?
What screen? Okay. What's happening right now?
What's happening? Where are we?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I thought it was fine. You know, the Road Warriors are fascinating. It's a fascinating. I don't think there's ever been a tag team that's been as over as them. If you think about how big, gigantic these guys were, they're the last of the traveling, I guess the traveling tag teams like that, you know? Was there another tag team in that era that was as dominant in the 90s? I mean, I can't think of a tag team that was as popular as the Road Warriors.
Oh, not at all. The Road Warriors were like, I was very excited about this episode just because, like, at the end of the day, it's the two like biggest, baddest dudes like on the planet as a team, just beating everybody up on Earth, right?
Yeah, that was a gimmick.
That was a gimmick, and I like that. I think it didn't get as dark as the other ones. Obviously, you know, like it wasn't as dark as the Herb Abrams or the Benoit one. But I think this is made by wrestling fans, and who doesn't want to talk about the Road Warriors, right?
I always find it interesting. I thought there was going to be a big revelation at the end. I think people have. I thought it was a good episode. You know, next week is the one, right? Next week is the Owen Hart episode.
Ooh,
that's the one that they've been really pushing. They needed another. I guess this could be considered a filler episode. It was fine. It wasn't anything crazy. The biggest surprise was for me this year was the Dr. Death episode, which was really interesting. I think a lot of people didn't know the story because it was so many years ago, and it's not something that's discussed. Like, he's not a name that's discussed in pro wrestling. I've always found him interesting because he was in an era where there was no breaking out because the talent was so high on that upper level. You couldn't break him out. But I think if he survived into the 90s in WWE, it could have been a very different monster heel situation for him.
Oh, absolutely. He does. The only other podcast we really talk about on this show are wrestling podcast, like other wrestlers podcasts. So he was on. They got Dr. D on Talking Shop a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of expounds on his story even more, and it's fascinating.
Yeah. Do you think
the bounty hunter stuff is completely fascinating?
Well, he would have been a huge reality star, right? That's what he wanted to do.
Do you think Dog stole a little bit of that?
I don't know. I mean, it's very similar. It's very
Except
similar.
Dog was just in Hawaii for the most part.
Bounty hunter. What a bizarre guy, huh?
Yeah, I love Dog the Bounty Hunter. You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but a girl that you and I both know, who's not our wives, huge thing for Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Like sexually.
Like sexually. Like she has like a thing for Dog the Bounty Hunter, and I always found that like insane. Not even like preposterous. I'm not going to shame anybody for that.
You got to tell me off the air. You got to tell me off the air.
I'll tell you off the air. Yeah. Love Dog.
That. I love it. That's such a bizarre thing to be into. Guys, get your questions ready. Get your questions ready here in the chat. We're going to answer some questions. I think maybe, do you want to do a second show next week? Middle of the week where we take phone calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll have a call screener for that. We'll do a call screener.
That would be good. would that go on YouTube?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool. We're gonna have to have Suncast like tweak that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have a call screener. It'll be fine.
Cool.
Guys, get your questions ready in the chat. Post them here on YouTube. We do a show each and every week. We've been doing it on Thursdays recently because I think that we could talk about AEW and everything. So get your questions ready. Post it in the chat. We'll be taking phone calls on a phone call show. We'll do another. We got a lot of time on our hands, so we'll keep doing this. Let's see here. So here's the thing. Season 3 of Dark Side. Bob goes, is there going to be a season 3? There is going to be a season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring. There's a couple leaks of topics that people want to see. What is something, Rich, give me something that you would like to see on Dark Side of the Ring.
Shawn Michaels' drug abuse.
Oh, man. Do you think they're going to go near that?
I don't know, because he like got like reformed and all that stuff, but like I feel like as a wrestling fan, there was that tension of him losing his smile and all this stuff that everybody says about Shawn, which is it's a two-edged sword what people say about Shawn who worked at WWE at the time, where they were like, yeah, I don't know what this guy was thinking with half the stuff that came out of his mouth, but also he could be the greatest wrestler of all time. You know what I mean? So there was always like that half and half like division between what people said and the actual facts, right?
Yeah.
But we've all heard those stories.
We've heard it, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, what can they do? Like, they need 10 episodes, right? Like, what are some topics that we haven't heard or we haven't seen that would be interesting for the series? I mean, there's so much, right? There's so much. The Plane Ride from Hell is a great story.
I'm trying to, the Plane Ride from Hell, that would be awesome. But again, like, most of those guys are under Legends contracts, so you're not really going to get like the full.
Yeah,
they're not going to talk. I find that fascinating, that whole story. I can't place the wrestler. I feel like really bad for not remembering. The dude in Japan who got killed by getting stabbed with a blade that was covered in urine.
Ricky Dozan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good episode.
Ricky Dozan would be a good episode.
Was it Ricky Dozan?
I believe Ricky Dozan was killed. Yeah, he was killed. Yeah, with the blade with urine.
Yeah,
I believe it was Ricky Dozan. I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. You could do the Click, right? You could do the Click. You could do ECW as a whole. You could do Sabu. That might be an interesting story. You could talk about. I mean, it depends on the episode, you know? It depends on how they tell the story. A lot of these stories we've heard 1,000 times in shoot interviews and podcasts. So they have a good ability to make it interesting, even though, like, I didn't think the Road Warrior episode was interesting because I knew everything. Yokozuna might be an interesting one to do.
Oh, Yoke would be dope.
Jake Roberts, that would be an interesting one. Enchante.
Well, I mean, you already had Beyond the Mat with Jake Roberts, right?
Yeah, but what a fuck, that's a phenomenal documentary. The fact that we got Vince to pull the curtain back so much on that documentary, and we got to see a lot of behind the scenes personality and what a psychopath Vince McMahon is. Because that all started before That all started before Mr. McMahon, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that was, like, the rise of Mr. McMahon. Like, we didn't really get, like, Apex McMahon until, like, later on, right?
So that began, I think they started shooting that in 96, 97. It took a while because the documentary was going to be something very different. And Vince actually tried to get it banned, tried to get the whole documentary blocked because it was represented in a very different way. The same thing, you know what? How about no, we got the Montreal Screwjob. That already we got with I'm trying to think what else.
ECW locker room.
Josh said, I want a documentary of McMahon taking everybody's finisher in a strip club. That would be phenomenal.
Forget it.
Vince just taking the Doomsday device.
We saw the brawl for all. There has to be like something like in like World of Sport or something like that. Dynamite Kid, did they do a Dynamite Kid episode?
No, they have not done a Dynamite Kid. Have they? Maybe. I don't remember. How about this? How about the steroid? How about the steroid trial?
Like the Donahue stuff.
Like the Vince steroid trial. Did we get that?
That would be good.
That's
But again,
a really
like
good one.
who was part of that trial? Obviously Vince. Bruce was there.
Everybody
Hogan,
was there. Hogan was going to testify. Oh, here we go. Brandon Edwards, $5, baby. Is the dark side of the ring bad for the business? No, because these are stories that have been going around for years. There's nothing really being revealed in these that hasn't been said about 500 times. So
exactly.
I don't, exposing the business. I think it's none of this is really exposing it. I actually think it's bringing in more interest into the business because you're starting to see. Like, my wife loved the Chris Benoit one because it was so real. And even though she remembered it, it was just, the act was it was such a senseless act, if you think about it. Like, why? Why would you do it? I think that's the thing that kind of captured you. I love one on Memphis Wrestling. That might be a good one to talk about. The fall of WCW, the Jim Crockett promotion. Maybe an episode on the Four Horsemen, I'm thinking.
That would be, I think a Four Horsemen episode would be in line with a Road Warriors one, where I would just love to hear JJ Dillon talking about how he used to have to wrangle these dudes, specifically Flair, to get to the next towns and all that stuff, like, I would love
just drugs in wrestling.
A Freebirds one, a combination Freebirds Von Erichs one would be fascinating.
Well, you know what is the whole concept is the dark side of wrestling, right? Like the bad that you don't see. So you got to think about like all these bad, like Rick Rude. How about a Rick Rude episode?
Sure.
This guy was shooting New Bane into himself, and he died at 39 years old in the middle of a comeback. He was getting ready for a return. Just so much tragedy in one industry to cover. I think, listen, obviously they could do so many different episodes, so many different terrible things have happened in previous years. So they'll have endless amounts of stories to tell.
Now let me ask you something. What if they did a documentary series called The Bright Side of the Ring?
And it's all the positivity, like John Cena doing Make-A-Wishes?
It's all like the Make-A-Wishes. It's all like the good stuff these guys have done for people and things like that. Like very specifically, like Mick Foley would be a good one because I think he donates like all this money to like survivors and things like that, like abuse survivors and all that. That would be kind of interesting. I'd like to see that. Good feel-good stories about wrestlers.
Brian Pillman. That's another one.
Pillman would be good.
Yeah, Pillman would be really good. I got a question for you, Rich. When do you think wrestling is going to go back to an audience? Like a full stadium.
January 2021.
So, no, that's not that far off.
Yeah, time goes very fast. And I think I'm not saying people have gotten used to this. I know that a lot of people I know, a lot of my friends are kind of very anxious still. You know what I mean? But I talked to a very close friend of mine last night, and he revealed to me, he was like, listen, man, I know it sucks out there, but I hope this never ends. I don't got to see anybody. I don't got to leave my apartment. I can work from home. I got a dog. I got a girlfriend. I can play Spider-Man on my PlayStation. He's like, I'm happy. He's like, I'm saving money by not traveling into the city every day, buying expensive lunch. He's like, this is good for now. And I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, I respect that. So I think you have people who can't wait to get out, like those dummies, who are trying to do like speakeasy stuff or like outdoor bar stuff. There was like a party a couple of blocks from me like the other day.
Was it really?
Yeah, and it went to like 3 or 4 in the morning, dude. And it was like insane.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it was like people were just being so damn rowdy. And I'm like, I'm not the type of guy to get up and be like, oh, just turn it down. But I'm just like, yo, you're stupid. Like, you're gonna cough. You're coughing on each other's faces and each other's beers. Like, you're done, son. Ruben says a Dark Side of the Ring with superstar Billy Graham would be good.
Yeah, that's a great one. He's a fascinating name too. He's the first like major bodybuilder as a pro wrestler like that. On that large scale. This guy really changed a lot of it. Do you know the password for the speakeasy? Mike said.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat room. I think we'll be okay. Though I'm gonna flip this question on you too. Like the 2 things I miss: going to a baseball game, because you at this point in the year,
Yeah, me too.
we've been to like at least 6 games, right? Probably like going to like a metal show, like a small metal show, and like bar hopping with my wife, right? But that's fine. I don't have to do this stuff. What about you? Like, what are your top 3 things that you wish you could do?
Oh yeah, definitely baseball. I mean, listen, it's May, right? This is the best time. I love going to baseball in May, and I love going to baseball in the fall when it's enjoyable, and people are really passionate about it. I think it's going to be weird. Here's where I think there's going to be a problem, right? Like for now, I get it, right? Like right now, people are very anxious, like you said. People are very nervous. They don't know if they want to go out. They do want to go out. Like whatever. That's fine. You could be as nervous as you want. But here's where it gets weird for me. I think we're going to get a lot of shaming of people going to public places. We're already seeing it. Like certain states have opened, right? They've opened their bars and restaurants that weren't really affected, like Wisconsin. And everybody's taking this photo of this bar in Wisconsin, and they're just shaming these people for being too close to each other. I think we're going to get a ton of that. I think we're going to get a ton of social media shaming of people that are actually going out from the people that are still staying in. I think that's going to become a whole thing.
I just think I think it's not a good situation for anybody, and I get it. People are shaming, and then like there's Steve Austin got called out on social media for wearing a mask, and somebody was like, "Hey, buddy, you're a communist" or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then he's like, and he read, "Shut up, dude." That's what Austin wrote to the guy.
It's a weird time in history, and also I think this speaks to the impatience of people, and like anything medical, it's cyclical, right? So God forbid everything gets open and all of a sudden we get wave 2 of this nonsense happening in October because people didn't listen. There's a giant. Did you see the fight at the Sizzler the other day?
Oh, I love fights. Red Lobster.
Was it Red Lobster
Day fight? The Mother's Day fight.
Yeah, the Mother's Day thing. Oh, so ridiculous.
She slapped one of the listen, people are crazy. Team Zubek asked in the chat room, has everybody lost interest in New Japan? I just realized that there's no G1 climax potential this year. Yeah, I this is, right now we should be talking about the G1 coming up. I think New Japan's going to be fine when they start. These guys
absolutely.
They run a lighter schedule, so as an American, right? Like as international viewers, we don't get New Japan every single week like we do WWE 3-4 times a week. So
right.
I don't, they're kind of hidden from this. Like they'll be fine when they return. They start doing shows. They'll be okay because they run a limited schedule compared to WWE or AEW. Well, AEW runs the same thing, I guess, maybe a little more. So New Japan's gonna be fine when they open up. They'll do it maybe later on in the year. Maybe the G1 becomes they do it in September, leading right into Wrestle Kingdom.
That would be cool. Also, New Japan's been doing a good job of like releasing stuff for free on their website and also releasing like interesting things. I think they just put out like an Okada documentary and they put out that weird movie with Tanahashi called My Dad is a Heel Wrestler.
Dude, it's not bad. Lot of fun. Have you seen it?
I watched it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
What was his name in it? Like the big cockroach?
Yeah, he's a heel. And then and then the son pretends that he's the babyface.
We got a question in the chat room here from Bachelor 3000. When Enchante debuts, will Who's That Girl by Eve be his theme song?
Who's that girl? Na 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 na.
Oh, that's a good. I still think it should be It's Raining Men.
But that's too. I think that's too much of a cliche.
Too on the nose. Go with what works, buddy.
I want a little. I want it to be a little. I want you to go when you hear it. That's what I want.
Like what? What about that song? Make him say.
I like that song. Things that make you go That's another good one. We could do that.
Or
one.
the other song, the
Unity by Queen Latifah. I want that one.
That would be great. Yeah. Make him say That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Make him say,
can you see Heath Slater in New Japan? I cannot. Can you?
That'd be great.
You would love that. I mean, listen, it's all cool.
Yeah, I mean, everybody could go anywhere. Large23 asks, should the revival appear with little audience or just wait until more people?
That's a good question.
To debut.
That's a good question.
I think they'll be fine. You know, if they debuted with like a limited audience, I don't think it would hurt because it would still be cool to finally see stuff building to that Young Buck match. And I think that's where you have the audience, right? You
The Young
lead
Buck
up
match.
to that Young Buck match, right?
So here's something interesting. G1 is scheduled for October already. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the Olympics. I totally
Okay.
forgot about that. It was moved because the Summer Olympics were in Japan this year.
Mm-hmm.
But since it got postponed, New Japan has a window to still get the schedule in. So maybe they're not going to even need to move the G1. They're just going to do it in October like it was scheduled to be done.
Let's see. Okay. Brandon asks, will wrestlers be refreshed or have ring rust coming back to their regular schedule?
It depends on the guys. I think there are certain guys that take advantage of a moment like this and they get in really good shape and they work out and they come back. Yeah. It's a whole new gimmick. And there are other ones that are maybe a little bit lazier. I always find it interesting when somebody comes back from an injury, how they look, right? Because it says a lot about where they are in their minds within the company. You have guys that sometimes go away and they come back. Like, great example, Drew McIntyre, right? Drew McIntyre is a great example of you were at the bottom when you left. You worked hard, you reinvented yourself, and now you're back and you're better than ever. You look like $1 million. And then you have guys that maybe had that look, they go away and they just didn't have the discipline and they come back and they're not that great. You know, little pudgy, little ring rust. So it depends on the guy, and it kind of tells you like where they are politically in the company. You know, obviously, motivation for Drew was this guy wanted to be world champion. This guy wanted to be. He had something to prove. I think Jinder fell into a very interesting situation where I don't think he even expected to be the guy, but he was rewarded because he worked so hard at it. So you got, you know, you look at some of these guys that were released right now. You know, who's going to be the guy that does nothing on the indies and kind of lets himself go, and who's going to be the guy that kind of reinvents himself? Is Heath Slater going to reinvent himself as a jacked up guy? I don't know.
Oh, I would love that. New Buff
Is that
Bagwell.
all you need to do? Buff Bagwell? He should be buff?
He's the new Buff Bagwell.
He's with a little top hat and everything. I would love that.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, and also I think Triple H set the bar for that, right? Like, have you ever seen somebody come back as jacked as he did?
No. You know what? Great example, dude. I mean, that's actually the best example of a guy that is just so driven. With every injury, this guy came back looking like $1 million. He never went away and came back looking like shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember when he came out, I think it was the Garden, right? When he came back and had the big return with Kurt Angle. Yeah, this dude was gigantic.
Dude, I was there for that. Dude, the building, he was a heel, by the way, when he left, right? He was a heel. Yeah. He was doing an amazing program with Austin. I think a lot of people forget that. It was the two-man power trip where they had the tag titles and did they have the tag titles? They had the IC and the world.
Yes.
But I can't remember if they had the tag. Let's say, I think they did. Somebody will correct me. I can't remember. But this guy was on top. Like, they were getting ready for that Austin Triple H feud. You know, two guys that never really had a great feud. Austin and Triple H. Right?
Yeah. Well,
it never worked. It never worked. Every time they tried, something weird happened. Remember the first time?
Yes.
The first time Austin was hurt, it was the guy who hit him, who hit Austin. It was Rikishi, but Triple H made him do it. That kind of fell apart because they never really had... I think Austin lost by DQ once. It was weird. Then the invasion happened. Then Austin was the heel. They teamed up. They never really had like a solid like Rock Austin type program.
Yeah, but also I do think that Triple H had his time split between so many great rivalries. Like he was almost like a Flair in that era, right? Until he started becoming Ric Flair and Harley Race for the Evolution thing, because he was feuding with so many people at the same time, right? And everybody was.
Who do you think was Hunter's best all-time feud? Like best opponent that he's ever had?
I'm gonna go McFoley, like, because it was stretched out over such a long period of time.
Foley made
or
him,
The Rock.
Though. Foley made Hunter.
Right.
I think a lot of people forget that in that feud, that everybody thinks, Hunter was established. Hunter was, but there was still a lot of uncertainty with Triple H being the man in the company, being that top heel.
Right.
I don't think he would be or have gotten as over as a hated heel if he didn't have that feud with Foley. Foley did everything to make this guy look like a monster. And you want to talk about wrestling psychology? Like, look, I get goosebumps when I talk about this. Very underrated feud, the Mick Foley and Triple H feud, because that solidified Triple H. Everybody thinks about Rock when you think about Triple H,
right?
Right. The reality is that they feuded, but was it as memorable as his feud with Foley?
There's also something to be said about like a very ongoing Triple H Undertaker feud.
Triple H Undertaker, another one. Yeah, another one. How about Shawn? Triple H Shawn when Shawn came back.
That was great, but you knew that wasn't going to last long.
Yeah. There was, you kind of look back and you see what they attempt to do. I think 2004, late 2003, 2004, 2005 for Hunter was a really weird year. That's when he got all fat and bloated and he had the bike shorts because he had the quad injury, his hamstring injury, and then he was wearing compression shorts and he was very out of shape because he was off gimmicks, trying to, have a kid. There was a lot of moving parts here. That year, he really didn't have... He feuded with everybody, but he didn't really have that one guy.
Yeah.
Right? He feuded with... what the hell's going on outside? He feuded with Booker T. He feuded with Goldberg. He feuded with Randy Orton. He feuded with Chris Benoit. He feuded with Batista. Like, he had a lot of... Kane. He had a long feud with Kane. People forget. He got unmasked. Kane got unmasked because of Triple H. So he had a long lineage of feuds, but if you really want to talk about his all-time feud, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's Mick Foley.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that one stretched out for such a long time,
Which
pretty
one was
much up until
for you?
Ooh, I think the Cactus Jack return at MSG where
the street fight.
Yeah, and the end of the match is him pile driving him through the table.
Yeah, phenomenal.
That's awesome. And then like later on, Hell in a Cell, and then picking it up later on, Royal Rumble 2000, like all that. They really did a lot with both of those guys, and this is also when China was still part of DX too.
No, it was Steph.
No, there were matches where it was Triple H with China interfering, and Mankind was, I think they had a blue steel cage match together.
Early on.
Yeah, early on. Yeah. People forget about that stuff. People forget about that blue steel cage too.
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking the night after, pretty much the night after WrestleMania when Hunter became the head of DX.
Yes.
That era. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, it's all great stuff, man. All great stuff.
Yeah. We got a question from Gabriel.
Go ahead.
Do you think Vince has asked Becky and Seth to do a cringe baby storyline yet?
No, I hope not. I hope they don't do it. I really don't want them to do it. I think they should just leave her alone and just go be pregnant, enjoy it, and then if you want to come back, you come back. I don't want to see the baby on TV. I don't want to see a gender reveal announcement getting spoiled by a heel. I don't want to see any of it. I really don't. It's I like a little bit of the reality, but when it's like something like this, I kind of hate it meshing. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
There's two things. One, you know what I would like to see? If they do a gender reveal, I'd want it to be Asuka spitting out either blue or pink mist.
You know what? I'm into that. I take back everything I just said.
You're done.
That's the gender reveal I want.
That's the gender reveal. Two, they could really play up the Messiah and the man stuff if they wanted to, and say, like, if they had, let's say they had a boy, they could say this is the son of man and the son of the Messiah, and work in
that's great.
Some kind of weird Holy Trinity thing for wrestling. But yeah, I mean, like, it's unnecessary. They don't have to do it. I'm sure the kid's gonna, it's gonna be an interesting life that kid's gonna have.
You got to see, what's interesting? Like, look at wrestling Twitter when she announced that she was pregnant. Like, so many people were mad Like, so many people are angry that she's pregnant. So, and I was just looking at the timeline, and I was like, how do you have these reactions? Like, this is a TV show. Like, people are like, oh,
Right,
there
and
she
this
goes
is
she ruined her career. She's 30-something years old. She wants to have a family. What do you want from her?
And it's also like a person and a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, she's 33 years old, dude. What do you want her to do? Not have a kid for you?
Yeah.
Because you're into her?
Don't have that kid. Yeah, it's very weird.
So weird. People are very weird. Like girls too. Girls are angry that she's pregnant with Seth's kid.
Mm-hmm.
So bizarre. So bizarre. Let's see. Dark Side of the Ring would be great. Yeah, I agree with you. That would be wonderful.
That would be very good.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
I saw that Roman Reigns is on Cameo this week.
Oh, did you? How much is he charging?
$250
to say what up.
To say if I was telling my buddy this last night because we were both like we fell down like a Cameo hole, just like seeing how much people cost. And the Roman Reigns Cameo is cool for the dude that buys like expensive WrestleMania tickets every year, or that goes to like every live show and stuff like that. If I had the money to burn and I could script what this guy's saying, I would have him say "believe that" at least like 7 times in a row at the end of that video. Just like a complete psychopath, like straight Howard Hughes, like believe that. So all right, see you later.
Can you search Cameo by price?
I don't know.
Who's the most expensive?
One of the guys from Impractical Jokers is like $350, which I find very, very odd. I think Kurt Angle's like $100.
Who the hell's Tony Rica?
I don't know. Are you on Cameo right now?
Pro Wrestling? Yeah, I'm on Cameo right now. Tony Rica was a wrestler. Okay, he was a preliminary wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on Cameo for $10. It says WWE Superstar and Hall of Fame Pro Wrestler. He's on Cameo for $10. You could get one from him. I'm just trying to find who's the most expensive guy on there.
As far as wrestling, or like in general?
In general. Yeah, in general.
It's Susie Essman from Curb is $375.
Shit. That's crazy. I'm just looking here. Who would Bethany Frankel from Real Housewives of New York, $300. Who's paying for that? Andy Dick, $99. Who's paying Andy Dick $99? I really want to know.
That shit is crazy. Bret Hart's $150. I'm looking at all the wrestlers right now.
I would pay Bret Hart. I would love him to fumble around on his Cameo.
I think that'll be a very serious Cameo.
Hey, I can't do a Bret Hart. Yeah, Roman's $250. Look at that. I can't do it right now. Oh, here we go. Price high to low. You ready? Caitlyn Jenner is $2,500.
Ooh.
Kevin O'Leary's $1,200. Chris Angel $1,000. John Daly $750.
Chris Angel $1,000.
Yeah. Wow. You're into him?
Happy birthday, Andrew.
You want to see a trick? Ric Flair $500. Magic? You get it for $500. Troy Aikman is $600.
Right.
Dennis Rodman $500. Let's see. Terry Bradshaw $400. I'm trying to find somebody. Ice-T $350. You want one from Ice-T?
I think Ice-T. I'm not saying. I don't think most of these. I don't think are worth it. I know there's one that's kind of worth it. The dude who plays Marvin Barry from Back to the Future. He's like $75, but he sings Earth Angel to you.
Dolph Lundgren
$250, right?
Yeah. I'm into that. I'm cool with
Crazy.
that. Let's see. What else do we have here? I'm really into this. Dog the Bounty Hunter, $200. You want to get one of Dog?
$200. $200. Mahalo, Rich.
Mahalo, Hamilton.
Rich. How you doing?
George Hamilton with his beautiful tan, $200. Who's?
But this is kind of like a weird. This is kind of like a weird hole that you fall into, right?
Dude, Michael Rappaport, $75. $175. Forget it. Rey Mysterio, $150.
For Rappaport?
Yeah. Would you take one from Rappaport?
No. I watched his. I'm not. I think he's all right.
Michael Rappaport? Let's see. Violent J, Insane Clown Posse, $125.
No, thank you.
Let's see here. There's a whole bunch. All right. Virgil,
Yeah.
$300.
$25.
$25 for Virgil?
$25.
All right. What else do we have, Rich? Before we wrap it up.
That's it. I think we're done.
That's it. We're done? All right.
We're done.
Let me see here.
We're done. Let's get out of here, bud.
All right. Let's get out of here. All right, guys. That's it. We're done for this week. You want to talk about when we'll talk off the air when we should do a call-in.
Yeah.
Eric said, I paid $100 for Rappaport to watch my movies. He didn't. He just hit me with some. Okay. I mean, who's paying Michael Rappaport $175 and be like, listen, it's good, it's not good, I don't know. That's all I hear.
But you know what? Like, I think it works. Like, Matt Heafy, the singer from Trivium.
Yeah.
On his page, some dude's been sending him like demos and stuff, and he'll critique it and be like, cool. I listened to your thing, it sounds really good, blah blah. So I think that's kind of neat, but I think that also depends on what kind of level of celebrity they are, right?
Yeah.
Also, like the thing I was joking around with my wife yesterday was like, oh, you can get Gary Holt, the guitarist from Exodus or Slayer, to call somebody for $25. And I'm like, musicians, metal dudes, they sound like every other guy you've met in your entire life.
Yeah.
So there's nothing unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing unique about that voice. You'd be like, that's cool, man. Thanks.
Do you think they hate doing these calls?
I think some of them love them. Malcolm McDowell. I went to Malcolm McDowell's page the other day, and this dude, he's doing lines from Clockwork Orange, and that's pretty fucking cool.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool, actually. All right, guys.
Yeah.
That's it for this week. Remember, subscribe to us. We're everywhere podcasts are available. Patreon.com/MattMenPodcast. We're ProWrestlingTees.com/MattMenPodcast, and everywhere else. Subscribe to the audio. Subscribe to the video, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.
Later.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
It's fun.
I'm tired today, man. I'm very tired. Yeah.
A little hungover for your birthday?
No hangover at all. Just exhausted. Really? Yeah. Just very tired.
When do you want to do this?
Let's come up with a day. You want to do Monday?
To do the call. You want to do Monday during Raw? Maybe 8 o'clock? We can do Raw in the background. We can do like a little Raw in the background and then just like take calls and stuff. I think that would be fun.
So let's do that.
Cool.
That'll be fun. All right.
Let's try.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
All right, bud.
Let me hang up.